Yes, I am Tim Wittenborg. You may have seen me yesterday raising this little puzzle, riddle, whatever. And when I'm not asking the question, what is probably not the best solution for the problem, constantly under new pressure, barely keeping up as it is, always a work in progress, yet I'm very glad to have it. I am usually a science communicator or a developer out in the field, for example, at the last MediaWiki Users and Developers Conference fall in Vienna, which was actually my introduction to this ecosystem. Many of you have actually been to Paderborn, where I'm from. I just didn't know that the conference was there. So yes, you've been to my place, but I wasn't there. And as mentioned, I'm usually also active in those knowledge ecosystems. This is, for some, maybe familiar. That's WikiCon 2025. Not even a month ago, and you can almost always see me in any group picture. Yeah. But as mentioned, usually I'm somewhere in the field trying to develop some solutions to do something for science communication. And I'm here to share with you a little bit about my story of the past year. And I was thinking of how do I call this, because technically not all of this is good, but it's still the best of the last year. So let's have a look at it. On this WikiCon, I heard a quote. The mission is to create transparency on knowledge using a scientific method. I immediately typed that down. That was a wonderful quote to just do and live by. And this basically represents what Wikipedia stands for. This is also a representation of Wikipedia. You can look it up on YouTube. I made a graph of Wikipedia. It's the video. Very wonderful visualization. And what it shows is that we have so much knowledge that is readily available and very, very connected. Like these are all the different Wikipedia pages in the English Wikipedia. And we can, A, have this knowledge accessible, and B, even visualize it to grasp it. Because the only other image I know of Wikipedia is this, so many shelves would it take to put the books in it. And that's not really easy to comprehend, but that is much more interesting. I have a different one, and I'm very glad that Jeffrey opened the setup for me. The election in America was decided by podcast, and I believe that this could be soon repeated in Germany, also from the WikiCon this year. And this made me listen up because this is a different platform. Maybe just random second wild guess, just yell into the room, what do you think this is? Podcast? No, almost. It's YouTube. Those are YouTube channels and their co-subscribers. And if you have ever wondered if there's such a thing as a disinformation bubble, look no further than down here. This is where information gets lost. Like everybody else is communicating in one sphere, and yes, the disinformation bubble coexists with itself.
Looks like the Death Star.
Very much so. It looks like the Death Star, comment from the community. Some of you may have seen this, and I have to translate for the English-speaking folks. When Elon Musk is attacking Wikipedia, it's a very good reminder to donate to Wikipedia. Actually, I'm not 100% on the data, but as far as I understood, they basically reached the goal the day he said, please don't donate. So yes, in one way, shape or form, thanks for that. Look it up, Streisand effect, very wonderful thing to research. But we have this issue. Like this is disinformation. This is actually Twitter. It's 2017, other times. But that was distribution of fake news versus distribution of the actual, let's call it truth for now, but let's call it common reality or opposite, not the fake news. And you again see this clustering of people who only want to hear their own opinion. And this is an out of context statement. This had no relationship to anybody in this room. You are all nerds. I'm just quoting here. And what I'm quoting is a video who analyzed his own subscribers. So he said, please send me your subscriberships. And he basically found, okay, everybody that watches me is also watching all these other geeks. So you're all nerds. And the interesting thing is that video is not called "You're all a bunch of nerds" anymore. Like I have this slide and I keep carrying it with me. but it's actually not accurate anymore. You're all nerds according to math is not the video title anymore. And we had this issue on the first day where somebody said, okay, this location changed name, and we have this phenomena all the time that things change, but we still want to talk about it. And this, what we need is some representation of data, and this is where we all come back together. So one example I like to bring is somebody asked, who is the most popular talk show guest in Germany? Like, who is the most often in a German talk show? And somebody did the data mining and found out that apparently a guy called Elmar Thewissen is the most common talk show guest. And that is an important information because he holds no public position, but he's very public figure, like he's always in your face, and his opinion has much more weight than any other opinion because he keeps getting invited to those talk shows. And this is information which should be easily accessible. And this person did months of data mining and data visualization to get this accessible. But another person working at Wikimedia said, why don't we just put all of this in Wikidata and then you can have a query. And then I talked with him a little bit more and I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to do this. But there's a lot of data. Like if we put all of this in Wikidata, then we may get a little bit of an issue. So a few years ago, I came up with the idea of having something like a WissKomm Wiki. So a science communication wiki, anything where it's important to communicate knowledge in a video or podcast format, why don't we just put all of this in a wiki? And to put this in terms some of you may be familiar with, imagine it like a Wikidata plus Wikisource, or maybe a Semantic MediaWiki with the structured data on videos and podcasts, as well as the textual data. So long form text, transcript, annotated, translated maybe, even processed. Just not for everything that those two projects would already cover, but specifically for not always CC0 information about videos and podcasts. For example, Wikisource needs to wait 70 years before they start annotating anything. If we start to wait 70 years until some big podcasters are gone, that information is not helping much anymore. Like, it's interesting, but it's not the thing we need right now. And that's why we came up with this, which is the WissKomm Wiki. You see some banners in the background. We can have lengthy chats about it. But to give you a short introduction into the technology, you know the background, just some wiki-based instance for all the structured data on the videos, then some front end for the dashboard, and then you can look it up easily so that normal citizens, regular people, don't have to interface with structures they don't want to understand. They just want to have a search bar, a filter, and that's it. So good technology, but easily accessible interfaces. You can look all of this up in this master thesis online. Great recommendation if you have the time to read 100 pages of German. Otherwise, have a talk with me. And right now, we are at the very, very, very beginning. Like, we have a tech demonstrator, but we are at the very beginning. This is a long road ahead. And this is one of the proposals which I wrote for this, which I'm currently waiting on the decision. And this is another proposal which I'm currently writing. And this is open on the internet. We have a charity founded for this. And we are basically trying to crowdsource and imagine what would we do with, say, imaginative number with the next 1 million euro. Like, what would we do with the next 1,000 euro? What would we do with the next 10,000? What would we do? What could we achieve? And then we try to build it up from there. And this is a lot of work. But the good thing is I'm researching this for years. And I know that there are very, very many organizations and players on the field already. And I love that I have a perfect day right now to reuse this image. I just love this, and I get to use it way too little. So please keep this in mind. We are very, very strong together, and I think this is one of the core strengths of this conference here, or this community in general. We like to work together, and I think this is if you're looking for a unique selling point this is it. And this slide is over 1 year ago, or 1 year old. And when that slide was created, I thought that's a good overview. But I got very, very good help. And now this is the overview, because that's much easier to digest. And if you need more information, we have that, either in talks, like I have some online, but we can also physically talk. You can get to some of the solutions just by thinking of those riddle in the middle. And as mentioned, we have the poster out there where there's more information, also accessible through my brain. So feel free to pick my brain for your answers. Thanks for your time.
Excellent timekeeping. And any questions?
That tagline at the end is interesting. Finding the right videos and podcasts. You talked before about analyzing podcasts and their guests and so forth. Can you say more about how that can help people to get the right media diet or whatever it is?
So that is like one of the most complicated things we can talk about, and I would love to do this. I can give a simple answer. I always have the situation where I have a quote of a podcast in mind. I'm like, oh yeah, he said something like, and then I have like 4 or 5 words. But there's no full text search of podcasts online. Like if I only remember the quote, I cannot look it up again. That is the simplest access. But the other thing I could also do is, okay, I have a good podcast on geography, but I want to have the same style of podcast on history. So please show me something which has similar properties, just in a different topic. And there are similarity vectors where I can just leave out the topic and then compare the similarity and then put the topic back in and filter it down for that topic. And then I have those which are similar, just on a different topic. And then you can hear similar style in a different topic. 2 of the many ideas.
So I thought the graphs that you made for Twitter and what was the other one?
I need to immediately interrupt. All of those were greatly produced by way more capable people than me. Oh. I'm just here to highlight their work. But yes.
Okay. Well, I was curious if you found one, because you're saying it's fake news, right? Well, the good news is in the United States we have a platform called Truth Social. Is there one for Truth Social? And if so, what does that look like? I'm curious to see.
What do you think it is? The interesting thing is this was before the API for Twitter got shut down and paywalled. And this was basically also one of the closing arguments of that talk from 2017. Highly recommend, again, just German, but highly recommend. And his closing word was, we need to research this more, but the data was not easily available back then, and it's much harder now. So again, similar to the Echolot, we need some independent infrastructure. And this could be a step towards that. So if you have fake news, then I'd like to analyze that.
Great. Thank you so much, Tim.